as we sit here watching the Lions kneel the ball out against the Cowboys, the average football fan may have just realized that they watched an absolutely brutal smackdown. Yes, the Lions offense was just tap dancing on this Cowboys defense. Yes, the Lions defense was brutalizing this poor Dallas offense, holding them to 0 touchdowns and 3 field goals with just 251 yards. So yes, you would realize that this was a complete blowout. But what the casual fan may not have realized is that at the end of this all, we just watched maybe the pettiest game the NFL has ever seen. But you can get in on the action too with Underdog, the easiest place to play fantasy sports. And if you sign up with my promo code today, you're not just getting the best fantasy sport experience, but helping your favorite football YouTube channel out. Using that code will also get you a free pick, plus you can get a deposit offer and up to $1,000 in bonus cash. And what better way to use that cash than on Pick'em, where you pick whether your favorite players will have a higher or lower stat total in this week's game for a chance to win big. Yes, it's just that easy, and you can win up to 1,000 times your money in a single night. And if you sign up with code PUNTS right now, they're going to throw in a free Aaron Rodgers pick. They just don't want you to lose. And I just love how easy it is to use Underdog's app. So don't punt on a good time. Click the link in the description and come play today on Underdog. To really understand the pettiness of this current game, first, I have to take you back to last year's matchup between these two, a seemingly innocuous New Year's Eve game that featured two teams looking to advance their playoff dreams. But quickly, we realized that this game was about to become a New Year's Eve classic. The Lions would get on board first with a field goal before the Cowboys would eventually answer with a touchdown, and then things would look like a Big Ten West classic for the rest of the half, as it was going to be a punt off until it ended 7-3. But the second half, we would get a little bit of a shootout. The Lions would be the first to strike at the end of a 13-play marathon of a drive, but the Cowboys would quickly tie it up as their rising star kicker nailed one from 51 yards out. And then a Badgley field goal would push the Lions back out in front. The Cowboys immediately drive down and score, force the Lions to punt the ball right back themselves before seemingly icing the game on an interception inside field goal range. But they did not count on this Jared Goff-led offense to put together a masterful 2-minute drive and put the ball into the end zone with just 23 seconds left on the clock. And my God, does this aggressive play calling know no bounds. They are going for a 2-point conversion right now. Little did they know what hell was about to be unleashed. So the 2-point play call is this. Goff steps back, fakes the handoff, briefly looks the defense off to his right, and then turns, throwing towards the back left side of the end zone to the dismay of all. Leaking off the left side of that offensive line was Taylor Decker, the offensive tackle, for a 2-point conversion and a victory, is what I would have said if it wasn't for a penalty. Illegal man downfield. And all that means is that on this play, Taylor Decker apparently did not report as eligible. The crowd was furious. Taylor looked like he was going to turn that ref into a human version of a pretzel. Dan Campbell can be seen yelling, "No way, no f***ing way," as the Lions would go on to lose the game on 2 more 2-point attempts that failed. This became one of the most scrutinized plays of the year. People analyzed the film of Decker walking up to the ref with such ferocity that the CIA and FBI started recruiting sports fans based on the research and analysis going on. Even some Cowboys fans were on the side of Lions fans. And if you know ball, that's like saying McCarthy was siding with a communist on something. It was just unreal. But there were enough people saying that Decker should have been more clear, or that Campbell should have just kicked the extra point, that it appears Dan Campbell went back home with more than just a chip on his shoulder. He had a whole bag of lays up there, and what he would do is begin cooking up the filthiest, most devious and petty game plan the NFL has ever seen. And to give a little further context, let's talk about this Dan Campbell offense in general. It's already known for being a little bit tricky and a little bit devious. Coming into this game this season, they've already ran multiple trick plays on offense and special teams, but nothing could have prepared us for what was about to happen this game. it didn't start with the Lions on offense. The Cowboys actually got the ball first, and what are they going to do but just have a nice solid little drive going 54 yards in 9 plays where they would just casually settle for a field goal to go up 3-0. Oh God, if they only knew what was coming for them. So then they kick the ball back to the Lions and immediately begin the pettiness. Play 1. Dan Skipper walks up to the referee and reports as eligible. Even though they're running a simple outside zone away from it, it wasn't about being eligible. It was about sending a message. 2 plays later, Goff throws a 42-yard bomb, and 2 plays after that, Montgomery was going to find a hole and make a hard run into the end zone for a touchdown. But the night was still young, and the Lions' loot bottle was damn full. The Cowboys would try to put together another drive once again, but it results in disaster as Dak gets picked off in the end zone on just one of the most gorgeous diving interceptions you're ever going to see. And then 3 plays into the Lions' ensuing drive, what's going to happen on 3rd and 1? Dan Skipper reports as eligible, and they run the ball again. Is the message clear enough? Anyway, they finish that off with a nice 12-play 58-yard drive, doing almost nothing but running the ball and wearing out this Dallas defense as they end up settling for a Jake Bates 40-yarder to go ahead by 7. They would then force a 3-and-out in short manner before going with a double pitch flea flicker to Sam Laporta for a 52-yard wide open touchdown as they were now up 14 points. They then force another punt as their defense was giving just absolutely zero ground before putting together one of their more normal drives of the night. No shenanigans, just running and passing, with the result being a 48-yard field goal to go up 17 points. They would then stop an early desperation 4th down conversion by the Cowboys, and now they are ready to crank up the pettiness a notch. The drive would start normal as they crossed the 2-minute warning. They'd get down to the 9, and on 1st and goal, you guess it, Dan Skipper declares as eligible as they throw the bubble route to Patrick to bring them down to the 1-yard line, where Taylor Decker and Skipper would both report as eligible before running the ball in for the touchdown to bring them ahead 24 points. Now a huge Turpin return would set up the Cowboys with a free field goal, and if you want to know how that return happened, I actually made a whole video about it, but that's not the point of this video. Because look at this, with almost no time left on the clock, all that the Lions could do is just take a knee, and would you believe me if I told you that before taking that knee, Dan Skipper reports once again? Well, he actually does do that. But now we still have a whole half left to play, and they were going to put the tomfoolery away for their first drive of the second half, as I simply did not have time to tom or to fool, as they torched Dallas' secondary for a touchdown. But Dallas would actually be able to break into the opposing 35-yard line to set up the Brandon Aubrey field goal, which would be the last points they would score. And in 2 plays, Lions were knocking on the door to score again, where from the 2-yard line, both Skipper and Decker report as eligible, and they went for it. Decker holds his block for a second, then sheds the guy, and man, he had the ball in both hands. But that one stopped them for this drive, as on both of the next 2 plays, Skipper reports. And they didn't even score, they just wanted to make sure the Cowboys knew they reported, as this drive ends in a field goal. Dallas would fumble away their next possession, and just destined to embarrass the team, they tried to pull off a hook and lateral to the right tackle Penei Sewell, and it would have worked if not for an illegal man downfield and the refs' determination to not let the Lions have fun. But for the rest of the game, despite holding a 37-point lead, Skipper would report eligible 2 more times. Hell, they were letting him run a route, but the most brutal, the most petty one is that on the final knee of the game, as they were stamping in a 38-point smackdown of a victory, Skipper walks up to the ref and reports one more time. All in all, they had offensive linemen report eligible 13 times. That's compared to the 14 times they've done it the entire year leading up to this game, just to drive home the point that they do know how to report. Throw in the hook and ladder to Sewell, and now you can see why I think this might be one of the most petty games that has ever been played.
And he gets, oh my goodness, he was ready for it. You don't see this all the time. Your extra tackle lining up as a wideout.